The US State Department has denied there is a deal to free American pastor Andrew Brunson more than 2 years ago after he was first detained in Turkey. Escorted by police, Brunson had left the complex where he's been on house arrest since leaving prison in July and has made his way to court. He's facing terrorism charges following the failed coup attempt on President Erdogan in 2016. The case has ratcheted up tensions with the US ever since. If found guilty, Brunson could spend up to 35 years in a Turkish prison. Well, joining us live now from Izmir is Reuters journalist Emily Wither. Thanks so much for being us, Emily. Well, we've heard that Washington has denied such a deal exists, but what can we expect today?
That's right. There's been a denial that there is some kind of deal. And I have to say that the feeling on the ground among people who are hopeful that Pastor Brunson will be released today is cautious optimism. I have to remind you that there was a deal that was reportedly struck a couple of months ago, and many people here believed that Andrew Brunson would be released, and he wasn't. Instead, he was moved to house arrest. So despite reports of this deal underway, people here are not feeling totally hopeful that things will necessarily go to plan. Andrew Brunson's lawyer has told us that today we will hear from 2 new secret witnesses. And he is saying that the secret witnesses, what they have to say is not relevant to the case because they are making accusations against Brunson during a time that he had actually been arrested. So the court will decide today whether to hear from these 2 secret witnesses. And we're just waiting now for court proceedings to start. As you mentioned there, Brunson has already entered.
So how much of a source of tension is this detainment between these 2 nations?
We just cannot understate how important this case has now become for Turkey-US relations. Just to give you a sense of how closely linked it is now to Turkey's economy, when those reports surfaced last night that there might be some kind of deal underway, the Turkish lira rose significantly, over 2%. So that's just how much the markets here are watching what's going to happen. Relations between Turkey and the US were already on a downward spiral, but this has now really become a focal point. It's led to a tit-for-tat trade war, and it's really contributed to a near economic crisis here in Turkey. And if there is some kind of deal underway, people say that it's closely linked to improvements in the economy here. And many people in Turkey will be watching closely to see if he is released and if tensions are eased and economic sanctions are eased here in the country.
And just briefly now, what more do we know about the charges against Brunson?
We know that that prosecutors say that Andrew Brunson has links to Kurdish militant groups and also that he has links to supporters of Fethullah Gulen. That's the cleric that Turkey accuses of being involved in the failed coup here in 2016. I was speaking to one of the people named in the indictment for reportedly having secret meetings with Andrew Brunson, and he says that the prosecution never even called to hear his testimony. So people here say that the accusations are baseless, but Turkey insists that this will be a decision for the judicial courts and has nothing to do with politics.